If you had 30 minutes to hide from a nuclear blast, where would you go? I'd always heard a basement of a library is good because books may absorb some radiation. Make sure you don't break your glasses. There was time now. It's just not fair. This is perfect. Well, at least I have my books. Tunnel on I-70 in Colorado, 1.7 miles long, unless it turns into Stephen King's The Stand. I'm in Colorado, so good to know. I just figured I'd go towards mountains, I guess. Sort of planless in this situation though. Going into the mountains is a great idea. There are a ton of USAF strategic assets in Colorado that would be prime targets for an enemy nuclear strike. A lot of our space capabilities are based there, as well as some nuclear assets, all of which I would expect to get hit, and none of them are really deep in the Rockies or anything. If you're within a mile or so of a strike, regardless of whether you're underground or not, you're f***ed, so just going underground wouldn't cut it. Mountains provide a great shield to blast waves, though. And it's extremely hard to hit the valleys between them. You're basically in a global scaled trench. I work at a nuclear pharmacy which has dosimeters, Geiger counters, potassium iodide tablets, Radiac spray, PPE and lead, and the break room/office is an extra vault that was made to house a particle accelerator, known as a cyclotron. I'm at work right now. So, assuming I'm safe from the initial blast radius, I'd probably go sit at my desk, scroll through Reddit and watch the world end. Cool. What's Radiac spray? Think like Radaway from Fallout, till Radaway is real. I would probably go to the bank and ask to go to where I stored valuables. Rob's bank put me and all the money in the vault, then shut the door. I am seeing a flaw in this plan. Hello? Anyone? Here we see the remains of an ancient humanoid, buried in an elaborate and secure vault with the many treasures of his life. This level of wealth suggests perhaps a local governor or even a pharaoh. We weren't aware of this level of class stratification in the Americas at that time, so this discovery throws new light on the political discombobulation of the early 20th century. The nearest city is over 30 miles away, and it's all open country from where I am and for at least another 10 miles to the mountains in the other direction. Either I'd jump in the truck and try to make it to the mountains through the res, or crawl under the house and hope for the best. Probably best to just hunker down. At that distance, you shouldn't be in the zone. Maybe a shockwave will blow out your windows. Best to hunker down and seal up the place so fallout can't get in. Then you just wait a few weeks for the major radiation to die down. There is an old building near me that has a basement. I know what boards to move to get into the basement from the outside. It's the only building I know of within about 100 miles that is entirely reinforced brick masonry with a basement, and I'm sure I'd spend the apocalyptic event chatting with several homeless people who also know about the board. We'd all survive though. Right answer. This is how my mom's friend's son survived Hiroshima. He was taking a break in the basement when the bomb hit. His co-worker, classmate who was still outside, was severely burned and later died. I saw some old civil defense stuff from the 50s that suggested doing the same thing. People survived less than 1/4 mile from Air Zero at Hiroshima just by being inside concrete structures, like the Bank of Japan building. The simple earthen shelters that dotted the city would have been adequate to save many lives, had the population not been desensitized to air raid warnings. Well, according to this film by the National Clean Up, Paint Up, Fix Up Bureau, my best bet is to wait inside a house that has been coated with a fresh coat of good, American, paint and varnish. Reminds me of The Simpsons when nuclear war occurs and Homer was in a bomb shelter and then Marge says all the layers of lead paint made the perfect bomb shelter. There's a building at the college I work at that goes 80 feet underground and has 6-foot thick inward sloping concrete walls. I'll be in there. Why is there such a bunker at a college? My university was previously an Air Force base, so one of our buildings is literally a repurposed bunker. Hide? I ain't getting drafted for World War III. This bomb gonna send me. There would be no draft. World War III would be over in about 30 minutes. Like the quote says, World War III will be fought with nukes. World War IV will be fought with sticks. I'd rather not be around for the time after a nuke's been launched. I thought the quote was closer to I don't know what World War III will be fought with, but WW4 will be fought with sticks and stones? Either works in this context though, I guess. I'd try to do the guy jacking off from Pompeii thing. I feel like someone should pay that forward. So everyone can see the X-rayed imprint of your jacking on the wall for centuries? And become the cause of speculation that people that lived during the apocalypse had tiny penises. No thanks. He doesn't need to wait for the explosion, the burn is already right here. I would find the nearest elementary school and hide under one of the desks. Anyway, that's what we were taught when I was in elementary school. Duck and cover. Now I have the song stuck in my head, thanks. I've never heard this song before, but I can already tell how annoyingly catchy it is. Search Duck and Cover on YouTube. Bert the Turtle. Subway system/sewer system. Underground basically. Edit, thanks for my most upvoted comment ever. You all make great points. I think it's really situational, depends on blast radius, distance, etc. Overall, not an easy thing to survive. Metro 2033 intensifies. Artyom. It's good to see you. Here's 3 bullets and a gas mask. That should be everything you could possibly need. Oh, and don't forget to collect filters everywhere you go. Or suffer. Man, I love the Metro series. Pretty easy, I would just go to my nearest bomb shelter. They are all over the place here in Finland and can house up to 4 million people, so more than enough room for the entire urban population. Every metro station also doubles as a bomb shelter, and I can walk to one of those within 10 minutes, so I would probably chill there. There are probably a bunch of shelters even closer to me though, but could be busy. You can actually walk across a lot of Helsinki center completely underground. I often do when it is raining. The underground network of tunnels is huge. And all bomb-proof. Finland actually has one of the most thorough civil defense programs in the world, e.g. in new development projects, property owners must include a civil defense shelter in buildings of at least 1,200 square meters. Finland got everything covered. Damn. Might have something to do with being a Western-aligned neighbor of the Soviet Union during that whole Cold War thing. Oh god, did I miss something in the news today? No, not that I know of, just was playing Fallout and thought of that, haha. My man. Slow down. Looking good. The lady that used to do my taxes told me that her daughter and family were in Hawaii when the false alarm went out. They got into bed with their small children and watched kids' movies, waiting to die, but keeping the kids unaware and happy. This went on for some time. To bed for a 30-minute nap. Jack off and nap. Might as well make it a personal day. Like when everyone in Hawaii thought they were going to get hit by ballistic missiles. Edit, easily the most upvotes I've ever had. Thank you. Made my morning. Oh wow, I had completely forgotten. There's a fallout shelter in a bank about a mile down from where I live that was built back in the 60s. I'd probably yank some snacks and a bottle of Jack from the kitchen and sprint down there, then hunker down for a few days. If it's locked, then, well, I can polish off the Jack and wait for the fireworks. Imagine finally coming out of there and then getting it full force right in your face. I would die, lol. You would die. I'd be all like, ah, oh dear merciful God in heaven, it boo-orns. But not really, because I'd be immediately super dead. I'd probably climb up onto my roof with a lawn chair and a cold beer and watch everything go to shit. Can't watch once you're blinded by the initial blast. I'll bring sunglasses. You got me there. To the liquor store, so I could hide from my problems the way I always do. My man. There is an old library built in the 1960s less than a mile from my house with a basement fallout shelter. I know because I always see the old 1960s fallout shelter signs and consider stealing one, but the potential of getting caught and being banned from the library for the rest of my life stops me every time. I used to walk by a building near my office that had one of those signs. It was an old abandoned department store. It's been remodeled in the last few years. I wonder if it still has the ability to be a fallout shelter. Surely it does, but the door could have been sealed, or it also could be flooded. Under the blankets, nothing can get you under there. Nothing, including the air that I need to breathe after 5 minutes. Source, was once a child. Honestly love this. Me too. Breathtaking comment. This actually happened to me, sort of. My wife and I were in Hawaii, near Pearl Harbor, in 2018 when the ballistic missile alert showed up on my phone. Seek immediate shelter, this is not a drill, it said. For a minute I thought it was fake, but why take the chance? I'd lived in Hawaii before and decided to get as far away from Pearl Harbor as I could before mass panic set in. I drove east towards Kaneohe. There's a tunnel through a mountain and I stopped in the middle. We were the second car to stop and within a few minutes the entire tunnel was full. After about 30 more minutes a friend of mine in Kaneohe texted that it had been a mistake. He'd had his wife lie down in the bathtub while he watched the TV for updates. It was a pretty frightening experience. Edit, wow. This comment blew up. Hey. To address the comments about the use of the tunnel, I have no idea whether that was a good spot or not. I'd read before that nuclear missiles are typically detonated thousands of feet in the air, so the blast wave comes downward then spreads out. I'm no expert though, just something I thought at the time. So, I thought it might just travel down the mountainside and maybe we'd be trapped in there by debris blocking the tunnel, but at least it offered a possible bit of protection. Having very little time to do anything, it at least made us feel better that we were taking action. I was about 90% sure it was a false alarm, but that remaining 10% did a number. I've read accounts of survivors of Hiroshima. Do yourself a favor, don't look it up, and I was hoping for either an all-clear report or a flash of light and nothing more. A grocery store, eat everything you can before you die. Bring out the inner Matt Stoney. I'd go outside and wait to die, I'm not gonna deal with that shit. Yeah. Anybody remember the firefighters from Chernobyl? I'll take vaporization over taking a week to melt into a flesh puddle, thank you very much. I'm sorry, what? What do I type to look this up, because that's caught my interest and wouldn't mind reading more on that. You might want to type Hisashi Ouchioni to learn some more about nuclear damage and melting skin. A fridge? That fridge is made from lead. It might have saved him from the radiation, but the impact would have liquefied him. I saw the director's cut and I think the fridge was made of carbonite and it did freeze him. Left his imprint on the front of it too. His brother Luke was involved.